Hi everyone, this is Erin Stelter, and this is week 5, video 1. I'll just dive right in. Which reading stood out the most and why? Several of them stood out to me, like The Myth of the American Superhero by Lawrence and Jewett. In chapter 2, the subsections about the myth of Eden and the intruding evil other, I have brought those up a lot in some of our discussions and that sort of thing, because those really stuck out to me. And then The Myth of Superman by Umberto Eco and his concept of consumption, I found really interesting as far as how that relates to mythic characters. But the one that really stood out to me the most was the PDF, The Mythic Perspective by Rushing and Fritz. To me, this was kind of just a step-by-step how-to of how to use myth to analyze a text, using the concepts of departure, initiation, and return. And they also give a lot of examples of what not to do, which I found really helpful, because those might have been things that I leaned towards doing, if not specifically told not to. So, while I found several of our texts really interesting, this is the one I found really the most useful. And then, how have my views about myth or myth making changed during this course? I'd say my idea of myth was pretty narrow and specific before, and I saw that as kind of the stories of other cultures, so like Greek mythology, Roman mythology, Native American mythology. Those were kind of the stories of these other cultures, but I didn't see myth as being the story of my culture and in the American culture. But through this course, learning about the American monomyth, how superheroes are mythic characters, that are very specific to our American culture. And so that's been really interesting. And another thing I learned through this course is that myth can be, is not just the result of narrative, but it can be used to analyze narrative, which we're about to do this week. And have been doing. And then, let's see, finally, I'm going to go ahead and take a stab at this. I have an idea of the direction I want my analysis paper to go. And that may change when I get into writing it. But for now, the plan is kind of based on something that I read in The Mythic Perspective by Rushing and Fritz. And that was show how the text employs myth to make a statement about the cultural psyche. I really think both the graphic novel and the movie really speak to the culture and time in which they were created. And so I'd kind of like to examine that more and look at how our media-based culture affects the mythos of Batman in both of these texts. And I'd also like to tie in that concept of consumption discussed by Eco and how media plays into that, or if it does. So that's the direction I'm going, and we'll see if it stays that course. But I look forward to watching your videos and hearing what y'all are up to. And I hope everyone's having a good week. Thanks. Bye.